what I noticed is that, you know, with not having anything to do and nobody coming and me not going anywhere, I started to get up later and later in the morning. So then I thought, well, okay, I'm going to do this practice anyway, because I like to receive these things and then do them. And so I thought, well, I might as well put it on the Zoom, and then I might as well put it on the Zoom, and then whoever wants to participate, they can, because it makes me get up at least at 6 o'clock so that I can do my practices before I start this 9 o'clock meeting. So I did it, to be honest, I did it more or less because of me, like kind of, you know, out of self-interest a bit. But then some other people tell me the same thing. They say, oh, it's good, it makes me get up in the morning. So if it's only, if that's the only purpose, then I mean, why not? You know, because getting up later and later and later, it wasn't very satisfying anyway. So then so this is how this came about. I got this the prayers. I got them from Geshe in Zopa, and we got them from somebody in Malaysia and from Konchok that I know, it's a monk from Malaysia, and from other parts. So I think it is something pretty official, you know. I mean, as I said, I don't know if it's really coming directly from His Holiness, but it's the official kind of mantras and deities that that is being said that are very powerful right now. Okay, so hello everybody. Half of you are again invisible. Benny is visible with a big Buddha behind him. That's very nice. Nitan also. Il is there also. Cinnamon is there? No? Okay.
Oh,
so
she's not here. Il will join us shortly. Thank you so much.
Okay. So anyway, so the group is small enough. So if you, which I prefer, to be honest. So
Anila, can we please allow Tom to say a few words at the beginning?
Yeah. I just wanted to say before I give the word to Tom, thank you for reminding me, because he asked and I said yes, and then I started blah blahing. So the group is small enough. So if you have a question or if you want to say something, then just unmute yourself and say or ask your question or whatever. Okay. Okay,
right.
Tom, go ahead. I'll mute myself.
Thank you, Ani. So welcome everyone to this meeting held by the Dharma Friends Israel organization. I just want to say a few words for those who doesn't know, aren't familiar with our organization. You can see our website or go on Facebook, look for us on DFI Israel, and also this very meeting is now broadcasted live on YouTube, so you can see it from there. And later on, you can catch up and see other meetings or this meeting if you want to review it later. Please, as much as you can, it would be lovely if you could show your lovely faces and so that everyone, and especially the teacher, could see you and appreciate your expressions and how well you take the teachings. Also, if you are willing to donate and give Dharma to us, to our organization, you are very welcome to do so. Our whole operation here, endeavor, is entirely made by volunteering work, and so it can be very helpful. If you want to do so, you can look for details on how to pass the donation, the Dana, in DFI website. And that's it for now, I think. And please enjoy yourself, sit back and relax, and I'll pass the torch of speech to you, Anna.
Thank you, Tom. So there was a chat saying we're sitting in our pajamas. I don't mind, you know, you can, I really don't mind at all. But anyway, if you don't want to open your camera, your video camera, then that's fine. So let's start with a small meditation, reflection, yeah. Since we're Buddhists, why not? So make yourselves comfortable, but try to sit with a straight back. And it's all about, it's all about coming into the present. It's all about not being lost in thoughts. It's all about really getting to know yourself. It's all about coming inside. Because usually our attention is kind of outside. Senses are picking up a lot of things that sometimes we notice how it influences us. Sometimes we don't, but it all leaves traces. So try to get a feeling of that the body is sitting, be it on a chair or on the sofa, on the floor. And just know directly, unmistakably, that the body is sitting. If you're not doing this regularly, you might think, well, yeah, big deal. I know that the body is sitting, but we don't. Maybe we know, maybe in the head, but we're not aware of it. So just be aware, just know directly in an unmistaken way, the body is sitting, and try to see if there's a difference in your mind state, knowing that. And then in order for the mind to be calm and clear, the first steps is always to relax. And in order to make the body relax, I read a very good thing. I thought, well, I tried it out and I thought it was very helpful. So they called it the calm method, CALM, because calm is calm, and so like this. Because to do a full body scan when we are on our own and nobody's guiding us, I think not many people kind of succeed in doing that. So calm is just different parts of the body that we go to. So C goes for chest. So you're aware of your chest. And how are you aware? By just feeling how it feels when you breathe in. And opening up and becoming wide and spacious when you breathe out. Whatever you notice, just let it be there. Don't manipulate it. Notice it as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, give it space. Think that you're becoming bigger. Don't will or force anything. Just sometimes knowing that we're not totally relaxed releases the muscles. So it's just small tensions that we're holding. It's not big ones. Then the next one is A, so that's arms and hands. So again, I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, but you can actually try to imagine that you're breathing with your arms also, not just with your lungs. That gives us a good awareness of our arms and our hands. So when you breathe in, whatever you notice in terms of body sensations, you notice them without judging, without pushing them away. As you breathe out, again, try to become a little bit more open, spacious, down to the little cells. Give space. Also with arms and hands, try to see whether they're pushing, towards you or on your legs, whether they're really heavy or whether they're quite light in a very comfortable way, just lying there. Either your hands on your knees or your hands in your lap. And the next one is L, so that goes for legs. Same thing, be aware of your legs. You can sweep down from your hips. Upper part of your legs, the knees, lower part, the feet. And as you breathe in, be aware of the body sensations. As you breathe out, become very soft, very open, very spacious. And then you move back up. So the next one, the last one is M. So I think it went for mouth. I'm not sure, but it's actually the face. And there we hold a lot of small tensions all the time, just out of habit in a way. So you can go, bit by bit, the chin, the jaws, the lips, the cheeks, then the eyes, around the eyes, behind your eyes. Then the front, the top of your head, the back of your head, and something that is not really included in the calm, you can include it, meaning your throat, your neck, your shoulders. Okay, then we can do a short reflection of that. You ask yourself, how do I feel? And again, to allow whatever is there to let it be there, to open up. And just to observe it. How does it feel to ask yourself, how do I feel? And see how it changes. How very often we think that the way we feel is very static, very solid. But when we keep watching it, we can see that it changes all the time. It's dynamic. So then try to detect this kind of thing that we have, thinking that we are special. We all think we don't have it, but we all have it. I am special. How does that feel? When you're just in a neutral way, we're observing how am I, what's going on? How did that feel? And then we compare with when you really think I am special. This is due to me. We have so many expectations because we think we are so special. If we would consciously feel this, we would see how ridiculous this is. But we don't really consciously feel it, and then we act on it. Like most of the time when we do something unconsciously, we just do things because with the attitude, what is in there for me? Not spontaneously, what can I do for others? Unless it's your job. When you go shopping, you shop what is good for me, not what needs to be sold from the shop. And also maybe, talking about shops or markets, just look when you choose your vegetables. What's the criteria? The person selling the vegetables has to sell them, or, oh, I want impeccable ones. Again, it's not to make you feel bad about yourself. We all do this. We all do this in a very unconscious way. And this is why we suffer. This is where all our expectations come from. This should happen to me, or this should not happen to me. Why? Because I'm special. And that thing of feeling special creates a lot of fear and a lot of narrowness in our chest. You can maybe feel it actually. And on top of it, it's not even true, this whole thing, I am special. Everybody is special in a way. That means nobody is special, because if everybody is special, nobody is special. So then we try to see this in a little bit more realistic way. And you open up your mind and your heart. And you think, wow. If I think about the whole universe, all the beings in the universe, I am just a tiny, tiny, tiny particle. That's the reality. That's the truth. So then again, in a very neutral way, what does this thought do to your body sensation? Because this is where we feel the emotions, is in the body. It's not in the head. And we open up our mind and think about all these other beings around us. We're all connected with them. And for most of us, many of them, we are dependent on them. We are dependent that they're doing their jobs. Farmers growing the vegetables, doctors, dentists looking after our body, psychologists looking after our minds, people kind of fixing our houses when they break down or building them, people making cars, cups, plates, shoes, clothes, pipes where the water comes from when we take a shower or make ourselves a cup of tea, pots, pans. I could just go on for an hour and a half, mentioning people that we are dependent upon. Maybe touch something, touch your clothes, either your t-shirt or your pajama if you're in your pajama, or your skirt or your trousers, and just think, you know, when we look at them, it's my t-shirt, my skirt. Now try to think a little bit different. Hey, somebody made this. And not just one person. And try to imagine, now you have to make your mind really, really big. Just this piece of cloth that I'm touching here. How many beings are involved until it got onto my body? Try to imagine that and see what happens. And then a very small thank you. You don't need to like your pajamas. You don't need to think, oh, this makes me a special person. Just good thing I have a pair of pajamas or a skirt or a t-shirt. I would just say thank you to these beings that we will maybe never recognize. We will never know them until you're so rich that you have the t-shirts kind of designed for you. Then you know the designer. But most of us, we don't know who made these things. But there's still people, they're like us, wanting happiness, not wanting to suffer. And then we become aware, wow, I receive so much from others. And then, of course, the next thought is, what can I do for them? Try to come up with some ideas. What can I do for them? So this is why, you know, we always talk about the intention or the motivation at the beginning of a practice. So check now, you know, why are you here? Why are you listening to me? Although I'm sure you had a lot of Dharma already today. You're so fortunate in Israel. You have this overflow of Dharma. It's not just in Israel, it's everywhere. Gosh, I see so many things I would like to participate, but I can't. So you know about the importance of a motivation. So we make big motivation here. What's the purpose of my life? What's the purpose of my being? And this is something we have to find out ourselves. I mean, if you do spiritual practices, it's quite clear, isn't it? Not harming anybody, and as much as possible help. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, if you can't help, at least don't harm. That's already a very big help that we totally underestimate. So the purpose of my life could be very simple. May I be a kind person? May I be able to recognize my hindrances for being a kind person, my self-cherishing, my grasping onto the self that doesn't exist. So we set priorities. Do I want to be special, recognized, praised, admired? Or do I want to be kind? What seems more worthwhile? So, what do you want? Did anybody notice anything, like the difference between being special and being just a tiny, tiny particle? You can raise your hand and then I say your name if I can read it, and then you can unmute your microphone, because otherwise everybody talks at the same time and it's not very pleasant. Come on, you want to be the one who is brave and courageous? You didn't notice. You can also say, I didn't notice anything. If everybody says, I didn't notice anything, maybe I should stop leading meditations. Maybe I really go on a pension. Or you're totally unaware. You're not able to look what's going on in your heart. Maybe you were just in your head. I don't know. Okay, Maya. Maya and then Tom. Maya?
Yeah, I guess that what I can see from like a very, can you hear me?
Yeah.
From a very just a flash of an observer is that when I was putting myself in the center, I was very big, and then when I put myself small, things became more light.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, it wasn't that heavy. I don't know. That's the first observation I can think of, in a very sort of like automatic way.
Yeah.
For me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom?
Yes, for me, I didn't feel much of a difference from regular me when I was thinking of myself as a special.
Mm-hmm.
But when we started contemplating on us being part of a tiny part of a huge universe full of other beings,
Mm-hmm.
I felt relieved in a way. It made me feel somewhat, I don't know, being small made me feel like and insignificant, made me feel good about myself. But I don't really matter that much. I can relax, let go.
Yeah, thanks. Anybody else? Leora? Kenneth?
Yes. It was lovely when I started to thank people. Before that, it was me and them. When I started to think about other people who are responsible for everything I have,
Yeah.
it felt like togetherness. It wasn't anymore me and others. It was us. Puts everything in proportion. It was quite nice feeling. Thanks.
You see, being special is so tiring, and it's full of fear, because if nobody notices I'm special, because everybody wants to be special, and then if nobody notices it, then it creates a lot of stress. Yeah. Whereas just being ordinary and just being, yeah, and I mean, this is reality. We are, when we look at us, we take ourselves so big and so important. We are such, if you look at all the beings in the world, it's like, we're smaller than an ant, actually. And as Tom says, it's strange, because when somebody would tell you, come on, feel small now, don't feel so important, we would feel very important that we have to feel small, and we would feel bad. But if you do it in such a way that you see the difference between, me alone here, as Maya said, very big, very good observation, very big, but not comfortable in a way. Yeah. And then you go like, oh, but actually, if I look at the whole universe, it's like, poof, I'm, such a tiny speck. So anybody else would like to say something? You can say the opposite, so you don't have to agree with me if you dare. Yeah, Nitan?
I connected to the part with the groceries and trying to think about the others made me feel a bit more happier and a bit more relaxed, thinking that I can help with such a small thing. I can be a big help.
Yeah, thank you, Nitan. Maybe most of you already know the story. So when I'm in Israel, I love to go to the shuk. I don't know, is your shuk open at the moment or not? No, it's not. Only the...
No, it's not.
Ours are going to open again soon, like on the 27th, in a week. They open the shops again. And the hairdressers. Somebody say, why the hairdressers? Anyway, so when I go to the shuk, I'm never quite sure whether they cheat me or not, because I'm very easy to cheat, right? I'm not Israelis. They notice it immediately. Then I say hello in a very friendly way when I come, and I don't make demands. And so it's like, it's very easy to see that. And I know sometimes when they cheat me, I can see it. So then, in order not to feel so stupid and not to feel bad about myself, not to be like an Israeli and go like, so I thought I have to change my attitude. So I changed my attitude, because I love the shuk. I prefer the shuk than the supermarket where everything is just written on, because I like the human contact with the people who sell it. So then I thought, okay, instead of me, I want to go and buy vegetables. I thought, I'm going to the shuk to give them business. Try it out. I mean, it's such a nice attitude. And then if they cheat you, or you come home and you see your vegetables, some of them are rotten, it's like, okay, but they made business. So that was the purpose. So most of also in our life, if we are very clear about our purpose, and not just go on this automatic pilot that nobody is allowed to cheat me. They all have to be kind to me. Oh, dare if they put a rotten vegetable into my bag, whatever, is like, then you get all stressed, and you can, already now the situation is difficult. So it's like, don't add more stress by stressing about one cucumber who is rotten out of 10. It's okay. It's only one, If all the 10 are rotten, then maybe you can say something. So this is how you can, in your daily life, by changing your attitude, you can do a lot of things. But please don't become obsessive. This whole thing, the bodhicitta motivation. I want to be of benefit to all sentient beings, and then you get all stressed out because your bodhisattva kind of motivation is not totally pure, or people don't want it, or they say, leave me alone. Why are you so kind to me? What do you want from me? This is a bit Israel also, isn't it? A little bit when you're very kind, people get quite suspicious unless they know you, or if you also if you continue by just being kind also, then they notice that you really mean it. And because being kind is, believe it or not, is better for yourself if you choose to be kind. And the choice is sometimes very, very small. Yeah, if we're not aware of what's going on inside, because when we are closed and when we're full of fear, and then self-cherishing really kicks in very, very strong, and it makes it even bigger. And then I am special and I need this, and toilet paper, things like that, so it's like, anyway, just in case you're still lacking toilet paper, if you've been to India, you know that you can wash your bum with water. It's like, it's okay. It's only our toilets are not kind of suited for that, isn't it? Because in India you stand, so then with the water it's very easy. No need for toilet paper. You just have to wash your hands afterwards, which you do anyway these days, isn't it? So you can reduce a lot of your daily stress and fear by not feeling alone and by feeling connected. And Tom, I don't know if Leora sent you this quote from Einstein. I will again take refuge in Einstein, because for me he's such a role model. I mean, the things he said is like, he has had deep understanding how the mind works, what makes you happy, and all this. Like when he said, like, what did he say? Like the knowledge in the world, or the intelligence in the world, is growing and growing and growing, but the wisdom is not growing with it. Like, it's all about profit. It's all about success. It's all about I'm better than you are. It's all about not wanting to be the friar. It's all about these kind of things. But it doesn't really make us a happier society nor happier people. Yeah. And if you live in such a society where there is so much competition, especially in situations like this, then it becomes very, very difficult, because everybody is just looking after themselves. It's one part. The other part is, when situations are difficult, then all of a sudden we become aware of how dependent we are on others. And we also know that if I behave just like in a very self-cherishing way, nobody will want to help me. Yeah. So all of this is catching. You see, if you are calm in a difficult situation, if you are not fighting for things, some other people might calm down as well, maybe not immediately. So you need courage and you need patience to be able to say, well, this is my way of doing it. Okay, I will not get the toilet paper, everybody else gets it. What do you do in order not to feel stupid? Who wants to say? Maya, unmute. What do you do in order not to feel stupid when you get out of the shop without the toilet paper?
Rejoice.
Rejoice for the others. At least they have it and they don't know how to wash their bum with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's true. I mean, how many people who have not been to India know that? Not so many. Okay, Tom, do you have this quote by Einstein? Can you please show it to us so we can read it? Okay, can you see it? So I'll read it to you with my wonderful Swiss accent English. Anyway, he was living in Bern, we have an iron Einstein sitting on a bench in the Rose Garden. He's sitting like this, and people can sit next to him and hold him, and we have a photograph with young Einstein, because he was working here in Bern at the patent office. So a human being is part of the whole, called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. Now the problem starts. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Nobody is able to achieve this completely. I would a little bit disagree with him, but the striving for such an achievement is in itself a part of the liberation and the foundation for inner security, or in German it says for mental balance. Right? Inner security, mental balance, pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Okay, thank you, Tom. So we can see all the people that we are connected to. Did you know that quote? Yeah, I hope you did. Learn it by heart. And whenever you feel I, me, you go, oh, Einstein, which I believe he is a wise person, he says, I am just a part of the universe. And then see what happens, you know. I think your life will become a little bit easier to deal with. Also, just even you just do it for your own sake, you know, you don't have to jump into bodhicitta all the time, because if you look after your own mind, you at the same time you look after the mind of others, because you're not harming them and you're not hurting them. How many of you have felt lonely if you weren't sitting on the computer watching Dharma the whole time? Have you had periods and kind of moments where you're not listening to Dharma? Gosh, you must be able to reach enlightenment like really, really soon, I think, with all the Dharma that you are getting. Okay, somebody, and I have to go to put my son to sleep. I will watch yeah, okay. All the best for your son, Lucy. Thanks for letting us know. Bye. Yeah, so how many of you have felt maybe a little bit lonely? Nobody? Yeah, me also, by the way. And I even said so. And then I kind of regretted about having said so, because I thought, why am I making to make them feel bad? Because the thing is, you see, our group, many of the people are old. Yeah, so they say, oh no, computer and Zoom and all this, I'll do my practice at home. And even our board, you see, so I'm always with so-called strangers, and I felt kind of let down. I thought, like, come on, you know, even you don't like it, you're part of this group, you're on the board, you should be a bit more supportive with this Zoom thing, because I don't like it either, by the way. I feel kind of strange. I always feel very nervous before I start. So then somebody called me in the morning before doing the Tara practice, and she said, I'm not doing it on Zoom because this is not my medium. I'm going to do it at home, you know, kind of as a consolation at the same time. Then I just, because I felt this I and this me, and it just came out, and I say, oh, you know, that's not very helpful if you do it at home. It's very helpful if she does it at home at the same time, but I didn't feel like it. I wanted to see her. So I said, and then just after it was out, I really regretted it. And then, you know, and then this is the thing also, not really knowing, because she is the one who doesn't hear well, and she has hearing aids. So for her, Skype is almost impossible. Yeah. So during the Tara practice, my mind was kind of there, and I was feeling sorry, and I felt I shouldn't have said that because I made her feel guilty, and what's the point, and blah, 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 and all this. And so all of a sudden I thought, but yeah, this is why she doesn't want to join the Zoom, because she doesn't hear well and she doesn't understand. So I felt a bit kind of not more guilty. Okay, so I thought, okay, what do I do now? Well, I need to call her, and I need to apologize after the practice. So I called her, and I said, look, I'm really sorry what I said. I didn't want to make you feel guilty. It's just my own self-cherishing kind of, you know, because she said, yeah, many people are feeling lonely at the moment. I thought, well, I'm not feeling lonely because I'm meeting so many people on the Zoom the whole time. But most of the time I have to talk. So I'm really meeting them kind of. And I said, but now I understand because you don't hear well. And then she said, oh no, that's not the case. You know, I can put on earphones. So again, my whole thing about, you know, having found something, I don't know if you're getting what I'm getting at, because I have found something that I feel better that she doesn't participate, because I didn't like the idea that she doesn't like it. So I thought, well, yeah, of course she doesn't because she doesn't hear. But then she destroys that kind of view by saying, oh, but I could use earphones. So this whole thing about, you know, inside feeling noble and then again feeling, it was so funny. I mean, it was really funny. And I think this is really the chance when you're not too much even spending on Dharma, sorry. When this is also why I said, you know, I don't really want to give a talk when somebody already in the day is giving a talk for the same group, because I think it's good for people to integrate it. But it's just my view. I know that people, it's lovely, it's nice, you're entertained and like that. But then really knowing what's going on inside of you, this is when you are alone. And then sometimes the picture that comes up is quite horrible, actually. But then we can do something about it. And this is why, as a Buddhist, it is so important. You know, if you don't know your nature, it's actually quite dangerous always to look at, you know, to see how we really are, I think. Yeah. But when you hear the Buddhist teachings again and again and again and again, your nature is okay. Your nature is goodness. Your nature is kindness. And this whole thing about, you know, being self-cherishing and all this, it all comes from a cognitive mistake. So then that should start calming us down and say, okay, you know, a cognitive mistake. My mind, as Einstein says, my mind is making a mistake. So by really seeing and listening to the Buddha's teachings, which will be tomorrow evening, no, not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow evening, the teachings on the Heart Sutra by somebody who can explain emptiness much better than I am. So when we hear these teachings about this kind of I that seems to be real and true, existing from its own side, autonomous, what else words do we have? Permanent. Yeah, the I, the special I, that it's a cognitive mistake, that it doesn't exist from its own side. And then to really go and look for it, not just hear it, to really go when it starts to rebel and when it starts to feel bad and all this, you go like, okay, now, and you go with your wisdom and you look at it. Prove to me that you exist. For example, prove to me that you're so bad. You know, prove to me that you're a total zero. One thing that I used to do when I had my menopause, I used to have terrible states of mind also. At Tushita, Maya, the people there, but you don't know them anymore. I think Tomo was there, Sally was there. Who else was there? Sabine was not there yet. Kumpen was not there yet. It was Tomo, Sally, and then anyway. So I used to warn them sometimes. I said, look, today it's really not good. You better not ask me anything that doesn't need to be done today. So I don't know if you can do that really honestly, because we all liked each other and usually we got on well together. But it was very helpful to name what was going on with me and not to identify, and also knowing I knew I was in a bad mood, so therefore I knew I had to be careful. They also knew I was in a bad mood, so they knew that they had to be careful. So it somehow it always alleviated the situation a little bit by being so honest. Honesty and the truth, I think, is always, for me, is always good. How it would work where you, in your workplace, I don't know, you would have to find it out. You know, again, it shouldn't be kind of, I feel bad, I'm in a bad mood, so protect me by not asking me something. So that was not the intention. The intention was so I wouldn't, out of my bad mood when they said something, why does it have to be today? Can't we do it another day? Or just say blankly no, and sometimes even lie, you know. I don't know how to do that. I know how to do that, but I didn't feel how to do it. So when we can when we have the attitude, because if I blasted them, then also I felt really bad afterwards. So it was more that I wouldn't hurt them with my bad mood. That's one part. The other part was also, I didn't lose my reputation of being a kind person, because I did have that reputation, so I don't want to lose it. It's a nice reputation. So like this. So this is how we used to kind of be more, how to say, more honest with each other, and keep the dialogue, but not forgetting this is just like a cloud that is passing in the sky, you know. So when you are in a bad mood, or you're full of fear, or you are lonely and all this, then know that it's not because of course then we blame the situation, isn't it? So it's not because of the situation that you are lonely, it's because something in here has closed down again. Something in here that like that would have the space, like the love, the compassion, the feeling connected to others, has closed down again to go back to me, I. Yeah. You see, like when you cannot meet people in person, then we get this feeling of loneliness, and we forget. Just by, you know, I see your picture here. I don't even know if it's true. It could be a video that has been, you could be dead, you know, it could be a video that has been taken, I don't know how long ago. And you're just kind of showing it to kind of try to prove something. We never know. Well, whatever is on screen, we don't know if that's true or not. You know, like, you know, Benny is sitting in front of this beautiful Buddha. So is that fake news or what is it? Right. So what I wanted to say, when we feel lonely and we just think about the people that we know, but not out of self-concern, kind of, I can't have contact with them, but just thinking, okay, I feel lonely, I feel rotten, I don't feel good, but may they be happy wherever they are. And if I look, you know, what happens to me when I look at all your faces, my heart opens. You're not even here. So if we give our mind this ability, when we connect to others, when we remember that we are just a part of the universe and we can connect to others, and when we start wishing them well, when we start to open up our hearts and think, oh, wherever they are, may they be happy, may they be well, may they be protected. But then, of course, you know, this attached love comes in and says, oh, but they're not. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, they're not, but may they be. So you have to, when you start to kind of to be aware what is going on in your mind, this is why self-awareness is so important, to really see what our mind is blah, 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 blahing the whole day. And then most of the time we believe what it says, I'm bad, I can't do anything, or wow, I'm great. You know, this is also another thing, which is not so good. This one, you know, I'm great. It's very dangerous, because you're only great because in comparison to somebody else who is not as great as you are. So if they kind of increase their capacities, then what is happening to your greatness? Then again, it kind of disappears. Yeah. How many times in the morning you get up and have a clear motivation how you want to spend your day? You can think about this. You can maybe write it in the chat, because I have to go and turn on the light. Starting to get dark in Switzerland here. And what is your motivation? Oh, any chats happening? Or if you're not, you can say, you know, we can share some idea. I understand how insignificant I am, but when I see it, I struggle to, oh, I have to open the whole thing. How do I do that? Here, I understand how insignificant. No, you're not insignificant. I am, but when I see it, I struggle to see the meaning of life. Exactly. You're just as insignificant as anybody else. You're just the same. You see, this is this whole thing about being part of something, or being insignificant amongst all the significant people. This is what we do, yeah, when we don't feel good about ourselves. We think we're nul, we're like zero. We are, the French say, oh, je suis nul. I don't know if you have that expression in Hebrew, I'm zero, they say, you know. But zero is a very valuable thing, you know, you put one before and you have many, many, many zeros, it's fantastic. So, gosh, I'm totally distracting myself here with going here and there.
It's the second time in my life that I'm hearing this 10 before thousands, because years ago when I felt really bad when I was in Holland, and I wrote something like this to my brother,
that
and he said, you can put as many zeros as you like. I put just one in the beginning.
Exactly. So
thank you.
So
you reminded me.
Yeah, good. So when you feel like insignificant and the feeling, or the what was it? The meaning of life, like what we did before, you know, the meaning of life, purpose of my life, to be kind to others, to connect with others in as much as a good way as I can. So then, what's the purpose? You know, it's like, stop comparing yourselves to others. Do you remember the bunch of flowers I showed you in the sadhana? Like yellow flowers, red flowers, small ones, some with spikes, yeah? So we are all kind of, we're all in this together if we only would start to understand. But when we're just concerned about ourselves, you see, this whole thing about feeling insignificant is a very big ego. This is a bigger ego than one who says, oh, I'm strong, I can do this. You know, the feeling of, you can feel yourself, you can feel your I when it takes the whole space. And I think it's the biggest when you really think you're insignificant and you are no good. Yeah. So then you start small. You know, the problem with us is because we're not insignificant. You know, then we feel especially insignificant, more insignificant than other people, isn't it? This is how our ego kind of plays games with us when we feel bad about ourselves. So then put a big note on your, anyway, who said it? Who said that he's insignificant? Miri. Miri, do I know you? Can you show me your face? Oh, show me your face. No, okay. The insignificant, unfaced Miri. Miri without a face. No, it's fine. Sorry, I'm just pulling your legs. If you don't know me, then it might be difficult. Oh, okay, hi. Do you know me? Do I know you? Yeah, so then sometimes when people don't know you, they don't know that I'm joking, because most of the things I say, I don't mean them actually seriously. That's the problem. So like this. I am not a zero, but sometimes I have bad thoughts. I could be a good person, but sometimes bad thoughts, I could be a good person, but also I'm very selfish and contradict my high ideal with very little inclination. So your ideals are too high, my dear Bruno. Bruno, I know since a long time. Yeah. So put down your ideals. The ideal could be, for example, when you stay at home and then you didn't go out and you think, wow, today I didn't upset anybody. I didn't hurt anybody, because you had no occasion to do it because you didn't see anybody. So try to rejoice with that. And we are all selfish to one extent. So if you really want to do something about this, then start with thoughts first. You know, this is why I'm saying in the morning, today may I be of benefit to one person. And you look for one person and you try to be kind. Or right now, you know, with the social distancing, I go for a walk almost every day. We are still allowed to do that. But we also not more than 5 people, and we have to keep 2 meters distant. But you can still smile at somebody and say hello, you know, and very often the response is okay. I do that in Israel also sometimes, even though there's no social distancing, that people look at me, of course, because I'm dressed in a little bit funny way. And then they kind of look a bit like this. And also, well, it's for the sake of the people who don't know the story yet. You know, like Israelis, this is what I like about Israelis, because when they want to know something, they ask. Swiss people, you know, they look at you kind of in a hidden way. Like when you pass them, they look down, and then when you turn around, they look at you when they think that you're not seeing them anymore. We're very discreet, the Swiss people. We're cowards, you know, we don't, whereas Israelis are, you know where you're at most of the time, not always, but most of the time. So somebody was looking at me like this, man, and then in Ganair, I was going down the stairs, he was coming up, so he looks at me, he says, "What is this?" I kind of said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, what is this dress?" So I say, "Well, I'm a Buddhist nun." And he said, "Yeah, I thought it was something like this." So I said, "Good." And then he asked me, "And does it help?" So you see, I always, as a spiritual practitioner, on top of it, as an official one, you know, kind of showing that you are doing spiritual practice, I have to prove that it works. You know, I mean, nobody's asking, I don't know, nobody's asking a dentist, does it help? Does it make you happy? You know, it's like, so we're poor nuns and monks, we're constantly under pressure. We always have to prove that we're totally compassionate and totally loving and totally this and totally that. But anyway, so I felt like saying, well, yeah, it helps when somebody who is, it's none of your business how I walk around, asks you, what is this? That you don't get angry and you don't feel hurt. But I didn't say it. I'm not Israeli, you see. Maybe as an Israeli, I would have said it, but I'm Swiss, so I kept it to myself. But I said, yeah, I think it helps. I think it makes you more balanced and more kind of open to, you know, like that. Because this was this dress in Dharamsala, I'm somebody amongst hundreds, sometimes thousands. So I'm definitely not special. If you do want to be special, I tell you, just dress like this and go in the street, then everybody will look at you. So I had to really learn to allow people to look at me in whatever way they wanted to look at me, even spit at me. Nobody ever spat at me yet, but in front of me, yes, like, you know, really showing disdain. And in order to still be able to go out with the robes, I really had to understand one thing: people who do this, they're not happy. Okay? It might make them happier, a little bit happier, if they can spit in front of me and show their disdain. But like their basic, how to say, their basic thing is like they're not happy. Okay? That's one thing. And then also it has nothing to do with me. Okay? It's because of my robe. They don't even know me. So why should I feel hurt? Yeah. And if somebody who knows me and kind of shows disdain, okay, I mean, it's their business, it's not mine. So not to take everything on board and not to take everything so personally, and also not needing to defend yourself to show that you're not the way they think they are now, just to learn to be happy without ourselves the way we are. I mean, that's so important. And refusing to do that is an ego play. Refusing to be happy with yourself, you give your ego, this ego that doesn't exist, you give it all the power to make you feel especially insignificant and especially bad. So with your spiritual practice, this is why, you know, motivation is so important in the morning. Like for my parents, both of them were born poor, yeah, like quite poor, like in Second World War, even though in Switzerland, again, compared to other countries, they were rich, but compared to other Swiss people, they were poor. So for them, it was very important to earn money and to have money, which Dad, he succeeded, and he couldn't spend it because he only wanted it. So Mom, she spent it. So it was a very good couple. They matched very well together, kind of thing. But both of them died very peacefully because that was the purpose of their life. That was what they had been dreaming about when they were young, you know, and when they were, you know, hungry and all these kind of things. Not very hungry as in Germany. Some you can learn from other about less good things. Some you can learn from others about less good things yourself. What exactly do you mean, Sigal? You mean you can look that you have a lot and others have less? Where is Sigal? You can give me a nod. I can't see you. Oh, you're in the next panel here. Sorry, what do you mean sorry? Don't be sorry. I don't understand what you want to say. Can you say it? Can you, instead of writing it, can you say it? Yeah, Sigal.
Hi. I just wanted to say that sometimes I really like to hear from other people about myself. Because it opens my mind. I'm not just saying, so what if they think about me these things? Sometimes they are right, and I can study from other people about my behaving or things that are less nice about.
Yeah, we do. It's good, you know, but then when it happens right away, it's not so pleasant, is it?
Yeah, but the truth is,
we would rather hear
the truth sometimes hurts, you know.
Yeah, I know, but it's good, you know, that if you this shows a really, this shows a really good, healthy self-confidence, which I could build up by walking around in the streets for 12 years now. I'm here in Switzerland and other countries like this, and not being afraid of people's disdain, right?
Yeah.
So then by knowing, okay, not to be destroyed if somebody thinks bad about you. And I know you're Israeli, so you're Israelis, you're much more resilient than other people are, than Swiss people are, for example. This is why we're so polite, you see, because it seems it's politeness, but it's not. It's kind of the fear of hurting somebody else, because it's not done, you know, this is not in our culture to tell people what they should do. Yeah.
I'm not talking about, you know, foreigners in the street. I'm talking about the closest friends, which sometimes they tell you things about you which you are not aware, or you are not. It's good. I think that criticizes can make you better.
Yeah, we have a good thing in amongst monks and nuns. Is you know, when you have to say something which is a bit unpleasant or very unpleasant to somebody else, first you ask. You say, look, I've seen or heard or suspect something. This is the official phrase. It's even an official phrase for that. Would you like to hear it now? And then if the person says no, then it's no, because it can be exactly the wrong moment, you know. So if it, and I think we can, the problem is for us, we should be able to hear this in no matter what way it is being said. Kindness, out of anger, whatever, you know. But usually it is said out of annoyance, because it's, you know, people are annoyed with what we're doing. If it is said out of concern, like a mother tells her children, then it's different. Then we can take it, okay? But if it's said out of anger because the other person feels bad or is not in a good state, then it's also very difficult for us to take it. And then we get defensive. You know, a lot of conflict arises because when the mind is very narrow, and you see the way I see you, this is the way I see you, but it doesn't mean that you are like this, yeah?
That is a nice question. Who are you? What you think about yourself, or what other thinks about you?
Again, and this, what you think about yourself, this you can only find out when you're in silence and when you are alone. And if you have some kind of awareness practice or mindfulness practice, or like this, you know, when you go on a longer meditation retreat, you go in thinking that you're actually quite a kind person. And quite.
But if I'm not, you know, sometimes you find about yourself things that you don't like.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. When you go in, you think you're quite okay, okay? When you go into the retreat, have you done longer retreats?
Yeah.
Like long, you know, I mean, 10 days or more?
No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know that in Israel.
I made weekends.
Yeah,
some weekends.
Weekend is a little bit short. So if you do longer retreats, you know, then the things that we're holding and we don't want to see, we don't need anybody to tell us. They come up by themselves.
And what do you do with it?
Then you examine it and you say, yeah, when it's true, then it's true, you know. And then you say, okay, I have to transform. You see, the thing is, if some
Okay.
people say, well, I never find any friends, nobody likes me, then it's good also to self-reflect a bit why that
Sure.
is. You know, it's not that I'm saying, but at the basis we are okay, but that basis very often it is totally covered by self-concern and not caring about others. We care about others not spontaneously. We care about others when we have either attached love, because they're my children, my friends, as Einstein says. We are concerned about some that we call, that are in our circle, and then we have this attached love, then we want them to be happy, and we're considered, or we're concerned about them. But for most of the people on this planet, we don't, sorry for the word, but we don't give a damn whether they're happy or unhappy or what. Yeah, we see them suffering. There's like short moment of, oh, poor thing, you know, am I glad I'm not in that situation? And then we go and buy our ice cream, isn't it? So it's good to see like that. And this is what the Buddha is telling us. He says, you are not living your potential. The potential is always there. The potential is for universal compassion, universal wisdom, universal love. It's a bit difficult to kind of believe when we see how self-cherishing we are. But when we start to trust it, by the moments when we feel okay about ourselves, and then we start to see the moment when I feel about myself, when I have succeeded in something, and we start to compare with the moment when I feel okay about myself, when I was able to be there for somebody who needed me, or I was able to be more concerned about somebody else. So we start to compare these moments, feeling them inside, like moving from the head to the heart. Most of the time we're just in the head. So we don't know what's going on. We think we know. You know, when we started the session, I said, now think, or now know that you are sitting. Did you feel that anything shifted? We think we know we're sitting, but we're not. We're not aware of it. It's just like, you know, so many things are going on all the time. So when you start to notice that actually, I feel better about myself, like the feeling that I have, the good feeling about myself that I have when I am concerned for others lasts much longer, seems much more spacious, is much less kind of mixed with fear. You know, I never have to fear, oh, why? I will not be able to be of benefit to others. I never have this fear. I should have more fear like this, but I don't have it. But when you're happy and feel good about yourself because you succeeded in something, that is always mixed with fear. What about next time? What about if somebody comes and is better than me? What about if people don't like me? You see, this is another thing. Whatever I'm saying, well, I can be afraid that you won't like what I'm saying, but it doesn't really, I have no influence whether you like it or not. Yeah, I have zero influence. So this is also, again, this self-reflection, and to be strong enough and courageous enough to see where we are falling short, this is very necessary. Yeah. And the more you meditate, the more you look at your mind, the less you need other people. So because with other people, it always depends how they tell us. Imagine it's somebody that you feel they totally dislike you, and they tell you what you're doing wrong. How do you take it?
Well, first of all, I listen.
Oh, wow. Do anybody know Sigal? Anybody in the thing knows Sigal? She's somebody, you can tell her whatever you think of her. Whenever.
I don't take, I mean, first of all, I'm listening. Then I choose whether they are right or.
Wow. You're very Sigal, I'm not being cynical. If that's true, if it's like this, you're a very advanced person. You must have a very happy life.
I'm really telling you that I think that criticize is a compliment.
Okay, good. So you're a very advanced practitioner. So it's great. I hope you're in the Mahayana tradition, because that means you have practiced a lot of Lojong, because as a Mahayana practitioner, this is how you learn to see it. That whoever criticizes me, that's my friend, not the one who praises me. Yeah, so that would be a Mahayana Buddhist view when you practice mind training. But
Mahayana?
Yeah, okay. So maybe, Sigal, maybe now you shut your microphone again.
Okay.
Okay, because otherwise you're hijacking the whole group here, which is not fair.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't be sorry. It's fine. So you see, because I'm not as advanced as that, to be honest. When somebody criticizes me, I mean, you know, you won't see anything on my face, I think, but I know what's going on inside. I definitely don't like it. And as you say, then I have to think about it, then I calm down. But in general, I'm, you know, I'm not as open as you are. Yeah. So, but the thing is, as you say, if you have the attitude of Sigal, and this attitude can also be, it can also be developed by saying, I want to grow. I want to be a kind person. So I need people to tell me, and then open yourself up to criticism. If you're in a group and you totally say, look, whenever there's something that is disturbing you in me, please let me know. Because if you just, like in Switzerland, you know, if you just think it, and if you don't tell me, then I cannot change. If you want me to change, you need to tell me what you think is wrong. So if we open ourselves to criticism like this, by actually inviting people to tell us what they think of us, then we won't be able to get hurt because we've been asking for it. But then when you ask for it, it's dangerous, you know, when you ask for it, you really have to be honest that this is the way it is. Yeah. So very often when there's conflict in a group, nobody really wants, or there's a lot of accusation, but nobody really listens because everybody is blaming the other one. This is usually what is being done. So if there is tension because of that, and if somebody comes forward and says, look, if I don't really know what is going on, but I feel that there's a lot of tension and it's not good to work like this. So if anybody wants to tell me what I could do, that, you know, you don't have to say what is wrong, you know, so, because otherwise it's like, you know, they might kill you. I don't know. It's like, you have to be very strong to do that. So, and if you are strong, then all the better, but not everybody is. So this is another thing we have to be careful, because I can take it. That doesn't mean that somebody else can take it, okay? So if you open yourself up to that, very often the whole tension falls apart without needing to say what's wrong. Because with this whole thing about always having to talk about it, like then being defensive comes very, very quickly, yeah? Whereas we work with it, that I'm not disturbed by the behavior of the other person anymore, unless it's really harmful in a physical way, then I work with it to have an open heart. And when I have to tell somebody these unpleasant things, which I really don't like criticizing people, I'm afraid of it, I don't like it, then I make sure that I'm in a positive state of mind, totally calm, totally relaxed, not with the voice up here, you know, like waiting for the tension to build up and then exploding. That's never good. Okay. So I actually wanted to talk about other things, but now the time is up, so it's okay. What I wanted to talk about was more or less like the 8 worldly dharmas, because we are, you know, the fear that we have at the moment comes because we are attached to things that we don't even notice. They're not giving us what we actually want. Yeah, it's like praise and blame, it's comfort and pain, or pleasure and pain, it's gain and loss, and it's good reputation, bad reputation. Yeah. So we are very much in these things, and then we cling to that one. When we have it, we're happy. When we don't have it, we're unhappy. So it's because we don't see that by nature, they are exactly the same. By nature, they don't look the same to us. If I say to you, gain and loss is the same, you go like, what is she gone crazy now? Yeah. So we have to find where they are the same. And they are the same in that they are impermanent. And I think at the moment, you know, really becoming aware that everything is slipping all the time. Everything is impermanent. And I don't know if you read the article, I saw you have it on your website, the article of His Holiness saying, now is not the time for prayer, or, you know, praying is not enough. Praying is good. I'm not saying, you know, don't get the idea that the Dalai Lama says you shouldn't pray. You know, he says it's not enough. we have to generate compassion. We have to open up our hearts, which we will do in a short reflection before I finish, before I end. But we are, because we don't, you know, when we lose something, then we kind of fantasize, it would be great to have it. And we don't see that you know, the world has had so many crises already. And at one point it will be finished and then another one is coming. So again, that can sound like a bit pessimistic, but it's not. It's kind of, it's giving us hope that it will finish and we're not kind of locked in it. And to see that, you know, loss and gain, praise and blame and all this, this is your karma ripening. You have absolutely no control over that. Somebody likes you, okay. Somebody doesn't like you, okay, let them. You know, there's plenty of other people who might like you, like Shantideva, who says, you know, why getting upset if somebody is blaming me? There are other people who are praising me. Why getting so elated when somebody's praising me? There are other people criticizing me. So it's like, so it's a bit like this. So to really learn to be happy about ourselves in a good, healthy way, you know. And as Sigal says, because you can also be full of yourself when you're happy about yourself. So ask somebody, what do you think of me? Am I a good person? Yes or no? And then we'll see what they say. Yeah. Don't ask Swiss people. They won't tell you the truth. Okay. You need to ask Israelis or somebody like that. Okay. So our mind has the capacity to see the truth. The truth that everything that comes together at one point falls apart. Every meeting will end in separation. Every living will end in death. That is the conventional truth of our existence. Okay? When we, at the beginning, the mind maybe might refuse to believe it because it's frightened. But then we live in a fantasy. If you keep meditating on that, maybe, you know, just write it out and put it somewhere, or tell you these things so that the mind can get familiar with it. Everything that comes together will fall apart, even our universe also, because it came together at one point. It will fall apart, it will be destroyed. It has to, otherwise it cannot come together. Okay, we can speed up the process. We don't have to, but we are at the moment with global warming and stuff. Then every meeting ends in separation. That doesn't mean you shouldn't meet people anymore, but no, knowing that we will separate will make the meeting very valuable and very connected and very precious. But the idea that we will be together forever, this is making it, then we do whatever we want with these people. Every living ends in death. This also will give meaning to your life, by the way. Because when you think, okay, one point is life is finished, I'm going to die. What do I want to do from now until then? Maybe it will help you to have a clear direction what you really want. And there's so many things, you know, to be offered. Wealth, fame, skills, kindness, compassion, wisdom. You choose. And then you go that way, you will have a very peaceful death. If you haven't succeeded, you can think, at least I've tried. Yeah. But if you don't know what is, you know, where the priorities are, what is really important in my life, then we're not going in the right direction. Okay? Clear? Can we make a short reflection and send out some light to the world? Is that okay? If you don't want to do it, then, you know, then the talk is finished. So thank you very much for joining. What I wanted to say, now we're going back to Wednesday. So I make sure I don't have anything more important than Israelis on Wednesday, only less important. And then I can say, look, you're less important. So, but it was very important last Wednesday. So, so we will start with the patience chapter from Shantideva on patience, the 6th chapter. Yeah. So we'll look at that. Nitzan is laughing. Are you laughing because of that or no? Okay, it can be very valuable in these times. Okay. So that's what we will do. Then I will have a text, and then maybe I will stick to what I plan to do. Anyway, you know, nothing is fixed anyway. Everything is impermanent. So even like that. I'm sorry if I wasted your time, but it's your responsibility. You only have to click that, you know, it's on the bottom at the right side. It says leave meeting. So it's your choice whether you stay or you go. So don't make me responsible for having wasted your time. But if you have a feeling that I've wasted your time, you can think, at least while I was listening to her, I didn't hurt anybody else by WhatsApping or phoning or talking or going eating or whatever. So I think we spent the time really well. I hope you feel like this as well. If not, well, it wasn't, you know, it's only an hour and a half. It's okay. You have more time during the day. So let's just sit together for a short while. And again, connect with your body. And then especially at this time with your chest. This is where, you know, come from your head to your heart, middle of the chest. This is where you feel your emotions. So whatever is there, welcome it. Don't push it away. It's part of you, you know. This is it's very nice to say, because all these negative things, we usually want to push them away. So you can just tell yourself, this belongs. It belongs to me. It's fine. It's impermanent. It can change. And underneath this maybe unpleasant feeling, we have this beautiful potential of courage, love, compassion, wisdom, that very often we underestimate that it's there, and we concentrate too much on this tension or negative emotion or whatever. So whatever you think in your life is a bit meaningless or heavy or not wanted, we can do something with this, with the breath. So you can visualize in the center of your chest a very, very bright light, which is our potential to be totally whole, to be totally compassionate, to be totally good and wise. Around this is kind of a black cover, which is our cognitive mistake that we're making of thinking that there is an I. So you're not destroying yourself, you're just destroying that layer of black stuff that is around that very beautiful being that we are, which we visualize in the form of very bright, very pure, very fresh, very clean light. And you think that everything that is heavy, that may be in your body, in your environment, as you breathe it in, it first hits. And you breathe it in like heavy, black, hot, sticky, whatever. And as you breathe it in, it kind of hits first that black cover, because that black cover doesn't want more blackness, kind of resists, but you don't listen to it, and the other heavy stuff kind of hits it, and it explodes. It cracks, let's say. And then this blackness, the blackness of the black cover, and the blackness and heaviness of your, you know, of your present state, present situation, it gets sucked into this very bright light, like a vacuum cleaner. And this, it has the ability to transform it. It just disappears, yeah? The vacuum cleaner, you have to empty. This one, it just makes it disappear. Because it doesn't, the blackness doesn't exist from its own side. And as you breathe out, you think that this light in your heart expands, and it kind of clears away the last bits of that black stuff that was covering it, just melts it. And it expands in your whole body. So you do this a few times. As you breathe in all the black stuff, all the heaviness, all the stickiness, all the fear, all the uncertainty, all the, kind of have to say, I can't cope with this. Yes, we can cope. We can cope with compassion and wisdom. And you kind of, this whole, everything unwanted gets sucked into this very pure, very fresh, healing, wise, compassionate light. As you breathe out, the light grows and gradually fills your whole body. So you do that a few times. And that goodness, that light is expanding in your body, giving you everything you want to have. Wisdom, courage, love, compassion, feeling the connectedness with others, being able to be there for others without having, the fear that, oh, there's not enough for me. Being totally open. And then that light, it's like kind of, it's almost overflowing with happiness, loving compassion. And we let it kind of stream out of our body. And we can do the same thing. As we breathe in, we think so many people also have other heavy stuff going on. We're in this together. Some people master it really well. Some people have better situations than I have. Some other people have much worse situations than I have. So we breathe in. And immediately when the black stuff comes to us, then it again just vanishes like clouds in the sky when the sun shines on them. And as we breathe out this light that expands in the world, gives everybody what they need and what they want. And we can send out the light with the thoughts. May all beings be safe. May all beings be protected from physical and mental harm. We know they're not, because suffering has causes. But the wish for them to be free from suffering and its causes, that should be there. The wish for them to be protected should be there, because then we are in the mind of compassion. And it's a beautiful mind who can transform suffering. As the light streams out to the universe, not just the beings, but also to the environment. That by thinking, well, like this whole stop that happened now with aeroplanes and cars and machines and factories and all this, may we have understood something. May the world recover. May the environment recover. May we stop harming Mother Earth. As we breathe out, we give Mother Earth back her energy, her cleanliness, her freshness, her health. As we breathe out, may all beings be healthy, strong, loving, and peaceful. And one last thought. May all beings be able to live their potential of love, compassion, and wisdom, and live their lives with joy and ease, even in difficult situations. It's not the situation that makes us sad and depressed and afraid. It's our mind not seeing reality as being impermanent, unsatisfying, always something wrong, but having absolutely no inherent existence or essence. This is what is creating the problem. when we understand that, and everybody has the potential to understand that, then we can live our life with joy and ease. Oh, this is Shoshana who says in Hebrew, Shoshana, isn't it? Yeah, hi. Nice to see you. You're a bit far away from the, I only saw it now with your bow. Anyway, do you want to say something? You can unmute if you want. Thank you so much. Well, you're very welcome so much. Thank you for listening. I think it should be me to be grateful that you listened to me. You know.
Thank you.
You know, you have such great teachers. I don't want a compliment, okay? Please. But, you know, I'm just such a blah, blah person. But you have such great teachers who can keep to the teachings, who go one after the other, you know. I will have a text next Wednesday. I cannot promise anything, you know. Here in Bern, we have been at the 6 chapters. It's a year, I think. And you know which verse we are? 14. No, it's not true, 18. So, but it's great because we discuss it. So also if the group is not so great, we can really discuss it because it needs a lot of discussion, this patience chapter, so that you're not harming yourself, because that's what nobody wants. Nobody wants you to harm yourself. Great, so please look after yourself and enjoy the teachings that you get from these wonderful teachers, and see you maybe next what?
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. What text is going? Lojong? Oh, you can ask Leora. I think. Wait, what is it? Thank you so much. What text is good to study? Lojong, the 8 verses or the 7 points? Both translated through Yaki in wonderful Hebrew, especially the 7 points mind training. He did a wonderful translation. So I hear. I don't know. I don't speak Hebrew, but again, you know, when you do these very, very hardcore things, you need a group. If you do that, you know, at the beginning, you need a commentary with that, because it's not about harming ourselves. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about growing. Yeah. So then it's, you know, it's Tibetan text. So the Tibetans are very resilient. They have very strong confidence that they have Buddha nature, which we lack. So yeah, if you are a total beginner, which I don't know who said it, anyway, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, Lojong courses are happening all the time. It's like again, you need to know what you're getting into, because how I call the Lojong courses usually is you learn to become a happy friar. So I don't know if you want to become a happy friar. Okay, practice all your teachings, yeah? Practice all the teachings. Good luck and take care, yeah? Please don't get sick.
Good night.
Take care of yourself. You also take care of others. So it's fantastic. Okay, bye. I can't shut you down. This is Tom.